into the teaching moment. All right. I actually showed you one of them. There's a mini workshop, the 777 workshops, that it was called Managing the Voices Inside Your Head. I wanted to talk about one. There's 4 voices, generally speaking, that take up, that sort of encompass the vast majority of all of them. And my system seems to be flowing pretty good here. I'm liking it. Things seem to be working okay. Who knows? We're broadcasting live. Anyway, I'm going to do this and do this. And let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, so the 4 voices. The first one is the voice of the accuser. The second one is the voice of the wounded. Third is voice of the worrier. And the fourth one is a voice of source or inspired. I wanted to talk about the voice of the worrier. Now, the voice of the worrier, in many respects, is almost the most insidious of them all. The biggest reason is it gets so much momentum. Whoa, that's big. There's so much momentum behind it by the time you notice it's there. Now, the voice of the worrier is like this. Okay? It's not right in your face. It starts way, way off in the corner and moves through. And then by the time you notice it, it's got this huge momentum. And it's like a freight train that knocks you over. The voice of the worrier is really, really incessantly focused on a pre-lived future or a potential future. The worrier, I think I can say, never is going to focus on the present moment. The worrier is focused on the past and taking that past and then overlaying it into the future. So the worrier, and it's really neat that when you start to look at this from an energy mechanics perspective, it's so valuable because once you understand how the machine works, then you can do something different. The worrier will refer to the past, but it's incessantly focused on a potential future experience. And now where self-healing is so powerful is healing the traumas from your past. That's the ammunition it uses to create this potential future event. So what's really interesting is as you heal, as you resolve, as you release, pick your words, those past traumas, it really addresses the voice of the worrier. Because if it didn't have those traumas as fuel, it wouldn't be smart enough to worry. So the voice of the worrier is really focused on what might happen. Now, again, the best offense in this is the good old proverbial defense, because the sooner you notice it, the easier it is to head it off at the past. Because again, so often, by the time it's right in front of us, and it's got all this momentum and just right knocks you on your butt. When this happens, the first, probably the most, these are all very important, but, and again, easier said than done, of course, is that whatever it says, don't believe it. Whatever it says, no matter how logical it seems, no matter how much evidence it gives you, do not believe what it's telling you. Now, again, easier said than done. One of the ways to do that is take your focus from the voice and put it on the sensations you feel in your body. Don't label them. Just focus on the sensations. And they might feel like crap. The sensation just might feel absolutely miserable, even painful. But focus on the sensation. It does 2 things. The first thing it does is if you're focusing on the sensations you're feeling in your body, you're not focusing on the voice so much. The second one is it keeps you in the present moment, because this is always where the power is in the present moment. You see, the voice of the worrier wants to take you out 10 minutes, 10 years, who knows? By staying in the present moment, you're going to help keep your balance. So by doing that, you're not giving it your attention. And if that's all you do, so very often that's enough. Because if you're not giving it your attention, guess what happens? It loses that fuel. It loses that momentum. And you might be surprised how quickly, it takes practice, you might be surprised how quickly that momentum starts to drop. Now, again, the strategy, whatever it's saying, don't believe it. That's probably the biggest one. Focus on that present moment. Allow that momentum to drop. Now, sometimes what I will do, once you've got some balance about you, okay, is then what I will do is I'll turn and look right at it. And I'll say, okay, let's just, what's this story you're telling me? Because what you'll notice is, with the voice of the warrior, is they'll be able to create like the Lord of the Rings trilogy in about 30 seconds. But so often, we're so busy trying to run from the voice is we never stop and actually just look at this story that it's spinning. And I find so often when we just stop and look at it from that balanced place, or as balanced as we can be, you'll often go, okay, well, the chances of this scenario playing out, this story that you've created, are like about zero, right? And so often, you see, that's where it gets its power, is you running from it. But when you get your balance, stop and in essence run to it, I find so very often that story starts to crumble because it's just this fantastical, sometimes totally ludicrous potential outcome that it'll just lose momentum right away. Then choose where you want to go, focus on what you want, not what you don't want, focus on what you want, and start heading towards it. So the voice of the warrior. Best strategy, best offense is a good defense. The sooner you can catch this, the better, because then it doesn't have that much momentum. When it is in your face, whatever that looks like, focus on the sensations, right? Don't focus on the voice. Focus on the sensations in your body. Helps keep you in the present moment. You will notice that the momentum will start to dissipate, right? And that's all you have to do. And then focus on where you want to go and start heading towards it. If you want to throw in that other step, but remember when you're balanced, right, is turn and look at it and start to run towards it. In essence, essentially then away from it. And I find almost invariably the story that it spun was just nuts, right? It's just crazy. So and then it just completely disappears. To me, the last step, always remember the last step. Focus on what you want and start walking towards it. All right, guys. That was a little mini teaching. And again, managing the voices in your head, which is one of the many teachings, involves that. It also covers the other three, which is the voice of the accuser, the voice of the wounded, and of course, the voice of the inspired. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. You are listening and watching, depending, to Ask the Wizard, streaming live for June the 18th. Let's flip back to some music, and then I'll probably end up signing off shortly after it. All right, guys.